Joining me now is Jason House, who is the CEO of Iridium Sports Agency, who manages, what is it, like around 100 UFC fighters now? You guys kind of finally crossed that threshold, right?
I think we're at 107, I think.
107, he thinks. So I'm sure that you know that number. But you got, he's got clients all over the place, Bellator, UFC, all sorts of up-and-comers. So we'll get into some of them later on more broadly. But definitely a big fight coming up for you next week, Jason. Brandon Moreno, your first UFC champion. He's got a big one. He's got the trilogy fight against Davison Figueiredo. What is the vibe right now out of Team Moreno? Kind of give me your take on how things are feeling on your end.
I think we're running on all cylinders. Camp's been going great. Brandon has a great support staff here with his team. His teammates are amazing, his coaching staff, and working with the PI and then going back between Las Vegas and here has just been a great camp for us. I'm real excited to see the next version of Brandon, and we're well prepared to defend the belt.
I love it, man. And champion Brandon Moreno, is he changed at all? Has he let the fame go to his head at all, or is he just the same guy?
He's the same guy. I think for Brandon, he really does this for the glory, to see how good he can be and just to see how far he can push himself. All the stuff that comes with glory, all the fruits of his labor, I know he appreciates it, but it's not why he does it. I think his best asset is his mind. I truly believe that he is one of a kind. And just, obviously we spent a ton of time together these last few months, just on media tours and preparing for this fight. It's business as usual for him. And I'm very impressed, because while I feel like the temperature internally has not changed, because the temperature externally has, if that makes sense, because so many people around him are constantly bringing up, oh, you're the champ, you're the man, you're this, you're that. And he's just the same, goes home to his family, his wife and his kids, and works his ass off.
Yeah. And I guess, from a fan's perspective, or even for us media, we talk to him. He's funny. He's got the faces. He's got the Lego stuff. He's great. Is that kind of what you see, what you get with him? Is that like what he is to, when you guys are hanging out as well? Is he pretty authentic coming across the camera?
We have a joke a lot that I always tell him. I said, brother, when you have a bad day, you better call me. I want to know what a bad day in Brandon Moreno's life looks like, because I got to be honest, man. I love it when he calls me or we talk, just because he's always in a good mood. And, obviously with life and where we're at right now with COVID and with, and with just the constant change in our society today, he's just so easygoing. Oh, brother, we have to move back this interview or this appointment or this or that. No problem. He really adjusts very well. And I think what you see is what you get. And I think that's why the world has really resonated with him. I feel like in an era that I think it's the good guy era right now, with Alvera and Poirier and Brandon, these are good people. And I think they're just themselves, and they don't have to talk trash to sell a fight.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good way to put it. We had the Conor McGregor era where it was like trying to outdo each other to see who could say something the most edgy. And now you kind of have tapped into something nice, and Glover Teixeira, all these fans seem to really fall in love with it.
I should have named him. Yes, perfect.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's good. I think it's more of what the kind of what the sport was built on. But for Brandon, being around him, and you say, oh, he never has a bad day. Has he ever kind of let you, like, any insight in terms of like how he stays so positive? Like, obviously, I'm sure that's if he wasn't that sort of a positive guy, he wouldn't have gotten back, to the UFC. He wouldn't have gone to become a contender. He wouldn't have become a champion. So is there anything you've kind of witnessed or recognized from him that kind of gives you some insight into terms like how he's just has that mentality?
For me, I believe his purpose is his family, his wife and his beautiful children. Shirley and the 3 girls, I believe, are his why. And I think he understands that to give them a better life, that this is the route that we need to take. And I feel like he's just embraced, every level that as we rise to every level, he's just adjusted so well with it. And I think because he's never lost sight of why he's doing this for.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier, I think the last time we spoke was right after Brandon won the title, and you were talking about how, different opportunities would come, and you guys thought you'd, be doing appearances and all sorts of stuff. Kind of what's some of the cooler stuff you guys have done? I saw you guys were at I'm not a soccer guy, so I'm not really like totally sure exactly, but it looked like a pretty big game. I saw you guys were with Canelo at one point. So kind of what are some of the cool things you've done? What was your favorite?
I think meeting Canelo was my favorite, because I felt like Canelo really gave us some good insight on what it's like to build a legacy. I felt like he really took the time to talk to us and really just go over what it's like to be that good on top and be on top of his game for that many years in a row. I feel like, you know, anyone can do something once, right? It's when you are good for a decade or 2 decades. That's really when you build your legacy. And I think those are the goals that Brandon and I have for each other. And we're excited to go after those. The soccer games were amazing. We went to one in LA. That was an amazing experience. Then we did one when Mexico played USA at the new Raider Stadium in Las Vegas, and that was an amazing experience as well. The media tour in Mexico City was awesome. It's just been amazing to just meet so many people and just to get the exposure that we've gotten. You know, I mean, Brandon's name has really grown tremendously as a result of winning this belt.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And I'm sure the building's going to be rocking in Anaheim. You must have been pretty happy when you heard that was going to be the location.
Yeah, you know, I get very emotional when I think about it. You know, my wife grew up in Anaheim. I grew up in Diamond Bar, which is just right down the freeway from Anaheim. I mean, this is the closest major arena to my hometown. And for me, it's just a homecoming, right? It's everything that I've worked for in my life to come full circle. And I'm very grateful, you know, that we have this opportunity. And when we went to LA in Orange County for some of the media for Brandon, we saw the popularity that he had there. We saw the fans and the people really respond well. And I remember telling the UFC, man, if we could ever do a fight in California, I really feel like the energy would be amazing. And so I'm really excited that this worked out and that we're able to do this, because Anaheim from, I think Tijuana is maybe hour and a half, 2 hours from Anaheim. So, you know, it's close to Brandon's hometown as well. So I think it's going to be a great crowd with great energy.
Yeah, for sure. And I like all I think of too with Francis being on the card is that picture of Francis and Brandon standing next to each other. I think that was like one of my favorite things ever. It kind of shows you, kind of sums up this sport, right?
Yes, I think come Saturday evening, we'll be taking another funny photo with Francis with both the belts.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, I wish you guys good luck in that. I definitely want to talk to you about, you know, another big opportunity that's arisen for Iridium, which was Korean Zombie stepping in for the title shot. Can you just talk to me about how that all came together? Like when Volkanovski, when Max Holloway, the news came out that he pulled out. I mean, were you guys pretty sure that you would be the next call in line, or kind of did you have to work for it? Can you just talk me through your end of that process?
You know, before this had happened, KZ has always told me, like, you don't turn down title shots. So if they call you, Jason, and I'm not available, say yes. And so he's always been very adamant about that. When this opportunity became news, you know, really when you look at the rankings, you know, we're the highest ranked fighter coming off a win. And Volkanovski and KZ had some competitive banter in the past. So I felt like we had a very good shot at getting it because there is some history there. KZ's coming off a great win. And yeah, I thought it was very likely that it would happen. And when, you know, I called KZ, obviously he didn't even hesitate. He was like, let's do this. I'm ready. And so it all worked out great. You know, had it been in March, it would have been a shorter camp than we would have liked. Being in April now, I feel like we have a great opportunity to prepare ourselves properly for the task at hand. Yeah,
for sure, man. I think that extra month's obviously helpful to everybody involved. And, you know, when Holloway did pull out, there was some talk, people were saying, oh, like, you know, Henry Cejudo was tweeting, you got Zombie's name being thrown. But I started to see people like, oh, you know, Korean Zombie's still got a shoulder problem, all this stuff. So I guess, have you talked, obviously you've talked to him about it. How's his shoulder doing? Is it something that, you know, he would have been ready to turn around and fight around this time anyway? Should there be any concern, so to speak, about that injury?
No, the shoulder's good. We were planning on fighting, I believe like late April, early May is kind of what I was suggesting to the UFC beforehand. This opportunity came up, and so we're ready to go. It's just moving the timeline a little earlier, but, you know, being at Fight Ready, being in Arizona, they have a great camp there, great facilities and amenities, and he'll be fully ready to go come April 9th.
I love it, man. And what do you think of the matchup itself? Obviously, I think, you know, some people look at it and they're like, oh, well, you know, Alex beat Brian, who beat, you know, Korean Zombie, but it doesn't work that way, right? I mean, MMA math, we see sometimes these circles, right? So how does Korean Zombie go out there and beat Volkanovski from you guys' perspective? What are you expecting out of that matchup?
I think there's a few paths to victory for us. It's really about sitting down, studying a lot of the film on Volkanovski and just kind of seeing which one's going to be most advantageous for us. His head coach, Eddie Cha, and I have been discussing this for the last few days now, and we're excited. We're preparing properly by getting him the right training partners to emulate and simulate Volkanovski. And I really feel that we're going to have some advantages there. You know, KZ always does well with fighters that he kind of has the length and size on, and we believe that we'll have that in this fight.
Is he back in the States yet?
No, he'll be arriving February 6th.
Nice. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna be in Arizona in a few weeks, but I'll just miss him. But exciting times for that fight, obviously there. What else is going on with you in the MMA world and the agency? Obviously, with all these COVID cancellations and everything, I'm sure you. I see on Instagram you're always on the phone. Lissa's always posting things about you outside at a restaurant or something. Has it picked up? Is it just booming? The phone just ringing off the hook more than ever now?
It definitely has. You know, COVID has definitely caused an increase in business, and a lot of that is because of the constant positive tests that are occurring. It seems like this new variant is a lot more contagious than previous variants. So I think it's causing for a lot of fight matchups to constantly change. For me, I'm just in a position where, you know, we have clients' trust, we have their lives in our hands, and they're counting on us to be there and be ready when that call comes. So I bring my phone everywhere, and I'm ready to go at any time. Our clients are constantly staying ready. I think Charles Rosa is a great example of that. Kevin Kroom's a great example of that. Both of these fighters stepped up on days' notice to come over here and compete in the UFC this Saturday, and I'm very proud of them, especially Charles Rosa. You know, he was out of contract with the UFC, and to get back into contract and take this fight on short notice, it's very impressive, and I'm proud of both of them for what they've done this week.
I love it, man. And I guess what else is coming up? I saw you guys announce some fights today. You picking on the old guys. You got Jared Van Der fighting Andrei Arlovski. You got Claudio Puelles fighting Clay Guida. Some big matchups, and obviously coming up in the UFC for Team Iridium.
Yeah, you know, it's an honor to fight. I mean, for them, to me, they're legends. I grew up watching Clay Guida. I grew up watching Andrei Arlovski. So to have the opportunity to compete against them is an honor. You know, I love Clay. We have a lot of mutual friends, and you know, I've hung out with Arlovski a couple of times on the road. They're great people. And it's great opportunities for both Claudio and for Jared. And we're really going to see where we're at in the totem pole.
I love it, man. And before I let you go, I would be remiss not to ask you the question that I think I've exited our interviews with. Who should I look for next? Who's the next breed? I think you guys call them classes, right? Who's your 2022 prospects? Who should I be watching that's going to take the leap to the UFC? I know there's probably a lot of names, but just a couple that are on top of your head.
I think, I mean, we have a ton of great prospects for this class. I'm very excited for the Contender Series bookings to happen because I truly feel this class is one of the best we've ever had. But I will give you this tidbit. You know, the FAC card in Kansas City the first week in February. I know Dana's coming there for Dana White looking for a fight. We got a slew of prospects on that card. Gage Jung, who's currently 3-0. He'll be fighting David Evans, who's 4-0. So that's a great matchup right there. That's going to really give some insight into where we're at. Mikey England is 5-1. He's looking to go 6-1. He's a former college wrestler at the University of Missouri. We have Marshall Kemp, who's 4-0. He's taking on Ken Beverly on that card as well. So he'll be looking to go 5-0. And then Isaac Dolgarian, I believe, is the co-main event. He's fighting for the FAC title against TJ Britton, and he's 4-0, and he's an absolute monster. I mean, those are four guys right there. I think easily with wins could be on Contender Series. And we have Jose Alday, who took a very short notice fight on Contender Series last year. He's fighting Dudu Dantas from Brazil out of Jose Aldo's camp on that card as well. So, I mean, that's 5 prospects that we have on one card. You're looking at going, wow, like with wins there, maybe Dana takes them. I think at the very least, I think we'll be seeing them on the Contender Series this year.
I love it, man. Yeah, FAC has really kind of risen their game. I think it'll be good to have Dana White in the building, and I'm sure James Krause will be in a bunch of the corners. Is he ever going to fight again, or is he just coaching? What's going on?
You know what, Nolan, we always joke about this. James is one of my best friends, and I would love to get one more rodeo with him. He is building him and Joe Wooster are building an absolute empire at Glory MMA right now in Kansas City. So I don't know when he has the time to really train properly. Like, he's training every day, but he's so selfless to his team. It doesn't have much time to really focus on himself and do a full camp.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I hear nothing but good things about James as a mentor kind of too. You know, it's one thing to be a coach, but to kind of be able to help these guys outside of the gym too is great. But Jason, man, I've taken up enough of your time. I really appreciate it. Good luck with the big title fights coming up, man. And we'll be talking again.
Talk soon. Okay.